burning brighter somewhere. Got to be birds flying higher in a sky more blue.
Good morning. Welcome to Right Thinking with Steve Copeland. I'm your host, Steve Copeland, and thank you for tuning in. Let's have a great day. Good morning, everybody. It's good to be back, and thank you for tuning in today. I just want to say that last week there was a lot of really difficult stuff going on with the hurricanes, Irma coming through Florida and the Caribbean, and we just pray for the recovery of everyone that was affected by that, and we just thank everyone for all the support that they put into the people that were affected by the hurricane. Last week, our show, we had Sonny English, and the show was The Message is in the Music, and I think I've gotten more responses of the listeners that enjoyed that show than from probably any other show. It was a pleasure for me to be on the air with Sonny, and we're going to have to get Sonny back, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Sonny. Everybody loved you. You're going to have to come out of retirement and get back on the air more often, and we're going to have a follow-up real soon and really get into talking about the music that's the positive message that we can pull out for people. And God bless you, Sonny, and thanks for being on the show last week. Well, I want to just jump right into some things that are going on in my life. You know, I'm very closely involved with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Don Green, the executive director, is one of my mentors and just one of the best supporters of Right Thinking Foundation. And I've been with Don for about 3.5 years now. And Napoleon Hill is one of the strongest influences in my life. I've said in other shows that other than the Bible, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich is the strongest influence in my life of any book in my whole life. Well, today we have an incredibly special treat. It just happened that one of the concepts of the Napoleon Hill to Success is called the Mastermind Group. And that's where you build a network of people that have come together with common goals in a harmonious way. It's one of the most powerful Napoleon Hill secrets of success. The definiteness of purpose is the number one. Well, Jeff Heiser, the producer of this show that was a guest 3 weeks ago, he's been connecting me with different people. And there's one person in particular that a couple months ago, he said, I ought to call this man up and introduce myself because he said this is one dynamic person that's out there doing just great things. And this person that I'm alluding to, his name is Lefford Fate. And Lefford's going to be our guest. We're going to join him in a moment here. But I just want to tell you a couple things here. As I've been doing this show for 7 months now, 8 months, I guess, I am moving further and further. And for those of you that have been following the show from the beginning, you see that this is kind of a work in process, that Right Thinking Foundation has now gone national and it's reaching out. And part of today's show is that Jeff Heiser's friend, very close friend, Lefford, he has a presence in the state of South Carolina and the Department of Corrections down there, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But I have connected with Lefford, and Lefford has connected me with some other people. I have a stated goal of going to 14 prisons throughout the country and delivering the message by the end of the year, and I chose South Carolina because Jeff has his friend Lefford, and I called Lefford. Well, I just want to let you know, when I called Lefford, it was if you're a friend of Jeff's, you're a friend of mine. And so that's good. You know, that's good to be connected like that. But I'll talk some more about all these relationships as we go on. But I just want to let you know that you're witnessing the mastermind group and definiteness of purpose with Lefford and I as we're going to get into this conversation. So I'm going to bring Lefford on, and we're going to talk a lot today about Napoleon Hill's book, Outwitting the Devil. Lefford, are you on the line? Welcome aboard.
Yes, I am, Steve. Good morning. Thanks for having me on your show. It's an honor.
You're welcome, Lefford. Thanks for being with us today on such short notice. We do appreciate you. So, Lefford, I want to tell them just a little bit more before I tickle your funny bone and get you talking, because I know that you read Outwitting the Devil just yesterday. You read the whole book in one day. You couldn't put it down. And that when we talk about that on this show, there's going to be so many things come out that for the listeners are basically just truths, and I guess people call them nuggets of wisdom. But we're here to help other people. And I guarantee everybody that's listening that you're going to get a great deal out of this show. One of the things that I want to say right off the bat, when I give the show a title and when I introduce people, today's show, the title is real simple. It's my guest, Lefford Fate. And I said in my byline on that, here's Steve interview Lefford, a man with a servant's heart, truly making a difference. Let me talk about what a servant's heart is really quick here, because you know that I like to go into some scripture just to kind of set the tone for each show. 1 Peter 4:10, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God, grace in its various forms. Romans 12:9-13, love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Mark 10:45, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many. Philippians 2:4, let each of you look out not only for his own interests, but also for the interests of others. Lefford, in the short time that I've gotten to know you, I just want to tell you that you are personification of those Bible verses that I just read. Now, Lefford, hold on just a second, because this is not a setup. I don't mean to embarrass you. They don't know really much about you yet, but let me tell them something. I first saw you, Jeff Heiser had you as a guest on his show back on episode 81 in February, I think it was, or it was April. I apologize for that. It was in April. And after that, I went and watched your TED Talk. You did we called it a TEDx. It was like you called it the minor league version of the big TED Talks. But Lefford, I love you. You've got passion. You've got heart. You want to make a difference. You're out there doing it. You're real, Lefford, and I thank you for that. So everybody could go to talknetworkradio.com and go to episode 81 in the archives and listen to Lefford's interview with Jeff Heiser, which is beautiful. And then just Google Lefford, Lefford, Fate, Lefford Fate TED Talk. And it's a 9-minute TED Talk, and it is amazing. And so before I go any further than that, by the way, on the TED Talk, he's got a quote. The problem is not what we don't know. It's what we know and don't do. I'm just going a little further here because I want to turn this over to Lefford. Lefford, I got one more thing that I want to do. And if people are still listening, which I hope I've caught their interest, this is an introduction that when I asked you how you would like me to introduce you, you were very beautiful. You just said, how about just telling them that Lefford is a retired American airman. He's a certified coach, teacher, and trainer with the John Maxwell team. Most importantly, he is a husband, father, and grandfather. Well, I'm going to go one step further because when you sent me some resume materials for background, I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to ask you to just talk for a couple minutes so that I can take a breather. This is Lefford Fate, one of his bios. Professionally, I've led, mentored, and served thousands of military members and their families during my 30 years in the United States Air Force. Since retiring from the military, I served as the program director for the Senior Life Improvement Center, a geriatric outpatient mental health program, and am now the deputy director of health services for the Department of Corrections, South Carolina. I add that. I am a husband, father, and grandfather, so I know it is not always easy to juggle our list of daily responsibilities. This makes it all the more important to have a structured, practical plan in place to avoid becoming overwhelmed. I hold a master's degree in human relations and a bachelor's degree in social psychology, modeling the core values of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all I do. I've used that's John Maxwell's, tools to enhance my own productivity, development, and decision-making skills in order to create a more balanced lifestyle for myself and my family. I look forward to sharing with you the leadership skills I have learned over the last 3 decades. According to John, the 2 greatest days in a person's life are the day he or she was born and the day he or she discovers why they were born. I believe there is a why for everyone, that each of us was created with the potential to achieve greatness, to make a difference in the world, to add value to others, and as a result, experience a full and rewarding life. For over 30 years, my purpose was to defend our nation, and now that purpose is helping people discover their life's purposes and grow to their full potential. This is what led me to partner with the John Maxwell team. You have met your fate. Let's walk into your destiny. Lefford, thank you for your service, and God bless you for the person that you are. Thank you for introducing me to Nina Staylor and the Department of South Corrections Deputy Program Director there. She's working with me right now so that I will be able to go into South Carolina and do the seminar that I did in Oregon, and that's just wonderful. Thank you for letting me do that. When I told her that you were my point of contact, she couldn't stop talking about you either. It was wonderful. And so another door has been opened. So let's just put that out there for the listeners. It's who you associate with, the mastermind group, your networks, your associations. And so with that said, Lefford, would you tell us a little bit about what you actually did for the position that you held in the South Carolina Department of Corrections? It's a beautiful thing that you did down there.
Yes, I was the deputy director of the South Carolina Department of Corrections, and I was responsible for the health care of 22,000 inmates across 26 different institutions around the state of South Carolina. And it was especially important to me because out of those 22,000, about 2,000 of them were veterans, were military veterans that had served in our nation's wars. And many of them had suffered with post-traumatic stress disorder. They suffered with traumatic brain injury. And some of the reasons that they were in there was because of some of the suffering that they had based on serving. As a part of that, also as running healthcare, I was responsible for taking care of the staff, which were correctional officers, medical staff, that on a day-to-day basis basically went into combat in a very stressful, dangerous position. I tell people all the time that I served over 30 years in the military. I was in Korea. I was in Iraq. I deployed numerous times. And what I noticed was when I came home, I could chill out, and I was not always under stress. When a person works in a correctional institution, they're in stress all the time, and there was a huge need to help people. And that was one of the major things that I did as a director in healthcare for the Department of Corrections.
Wow. I've read your bios and your resume and watched your TED Talk and heard the interview with Jeff, so I know a lot more about what you actually do than the listeners. And I just want to say this to the listeners. As I was talking about how Right Thinking Foundation is moving forward and getting introduced to people that are in a position to make a difference, which is a blessing for me to just be rising higher, Lefford